Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Cities Skylines 2, where we are in the city of Tampere. And before we jump in, I wanted to go over what we kind of built on the last episode. And I think that this looks really cool. I actually did receive a suggestion to turn these into wider sidewalks or actually put some grass and trees, which I think we're going to do. I think getting the street parking off might make it look a little bit nicer. But I think overall, the builds just look fantastic. I really like how we kind of spread it out, too. We gave it a little bit of space. We didn't cramp anything in there. And we can come over here and kind of check out this build as well. I think this just looks absolutely amazing. I really like the lake in here with the fountain. I think it looks really cool. We got the green grass kind of going all the way around, which I do think looks good. I think it looks a little bit better than the regular grass. But I do like the look. We got the rock landscaping as well. And then let's go ahead and check out our last area where we built this lake. We did a bunch of little pergolas. We did some more rock landscaping, which I think looks really cool. And yeah, I really like the overall areas a lot, and we solved a lot of problems for our city. So if we go into our info views and into the healthcare and death care tab, we can see that we have definitely inched this up a little bit. It was at like 65, and so we've definitely made our city a little bit better. So that brings us to today. We're going to be working on this area today. We have a huge need for jobs, and I had received a suggestion from a lovely viewer talking about the need for industry, and so we're actually getting a little crazy. Let's go ahead and jump right in. So the first thing we are going to do is actually go down to the landscaping tab. We're going to grab that level terrain tool. And what we're going to do is actually right click right here. Let's actually increase that a little bit. And we are going to bring this all the way down. Let's go ahead and get rid of this little inlet as well. We may come back and put it back, but I think it looks a little bit better without it. So we'll go just like that. And then what we're going to do now is actually bring this out. And I would prefer to keep a little bit of this here. So what we're going to try to do is actually bring this over here, and I want to put in a new asset that I had gotten. It is the extended cargo train terminal. Actually, no, it is the extended cargo harbor. I think this looks really cool. It's a really cool looking asset. And what I want to do is try to line this up as best I can. So we're going to go just like that. And we're going to be getting a little crazy with this. So what we need to do first off is kind of give us an outline for this area. So I want this to go this way. And then what we're going to do is probably cut this in a little bit more to follow that road. I think it's just going to be a little bit better if we do that. We could actually even extend this out and do more of a 90-degree turn. I think that that's going to look a little bit better. We'll have this come down, go like that, have it come over here, have it come this way. And then what we're going to do is actually draw the road all the way around. We'll probably keep this like this. And then we will come over here and actually extend this out a little bit. I think it's just going to look a little bit better if we can capture like a harbor look, especially since we're going for like an industrious harbor. Now we are going to have to flatten a lot of this out. The goal is to do a rail yard in here as well. And we're going to be getting crazy with some detailing. We're going to be really doing some fun stuff today. Once it gets down to these smaller, like 1, 2, 3, it's not a huge drop. And so it's not really as necessary to just go through and start deleting everything. Or go through and smoothing and everything out. So we are going to get rid of this connection. We're going to come back through and redraw it and make it a little bit better than what it is. And then now we are going to grab a 2-lane road. We're going to go on to continuous, and we may even need to bring this out a little bit further. I think we do. Yeah, it's just going to be a little bit easier if we do this. So we're going to bring it out a little bit further so that we can draw on dry land without having to worry about that water notification or anything like that. I think it's just going to be a little bit better. That way what we can do is draw it in and then do our key walls and then come back and trim up the coastline the way we want it to be. So we're going to come all the way down here, and I want to reach a point where we can kind of go straight. I think that's pretty good. We left enough space on the inside to where we can still kind of get some stuff done, which I think is important. And then we will go like this, and let's go ahead and turn it this way now. So we're going to come up here now. Let's go ahead and turn it to 90. We want this to be perpendicular with that road, or parallel with that road. So then we will grab this now, come up here, and let's actually draw in this road real quick, just so that we can kind of see with the symmetry what we're doing with this road. So we want this to be in the middle of these, and what I'm using is the 4-lane 2-way highway, because this asset actually uses highway assets, and so I really would prefer it to come off at a 90, but be in the middle. We'll go just like that. That should be good. That looks okay. And then what we're going to do is actually curve this up. So we're going to go just like this, and we are going to actually begin to have it go straight. We want this to kind of be a dedicated road. So I will probably have it terminate right there. And then what we can do is come back through here, and it actually looks like that's pretty good. So then now let's go back to our small road, our 2-lane road, and we're going to come off this way. And we are now going to go probably about right here. We're going to turn it at a 90. And then we're going to turn it towards the harbor. Yeah, we're going to go just like that. Fantastic. And then we're going to turn it up connected to that road because connectivity is important, especially for these type of builds. You definitely want to worry about traffic. And so we're now going to connect these up with the 2-lane one-way highway roads. I'm going to go ahead and leave those outside lanes open so that people can kind of merge. I wish this was just turned a little bit more. I'm going to go ahead and play around with this. I want this to be perfect if we can get it, because you see how that's kind of at an angle. It'd be better if it was slightly turned. I could actually probably just use move it. I didn't even think about that. So if let's get rid of this road, and then what I can do is probably just slide this over just like this. Go ahead and turn it. And it is going to be kind of hard to do this with the eye, but I think we can get close. Yeah, you know what? That actually looks pretty good. And then that way we can come back over here. Let's go ahead and soften this up. And then we will have our road come off at a 90, come down this way. Fantastic. We'll have it turn this way. We do need to do quite a bit, it's quite a bit of flattening, but you know what? It's going to be important, especially for this area. We're going to be dealing with rail and just a lot of different things that are going to be impacted by having to go up and down grades. And so we want to try to eliminate that the best we can. Now, we are going to have to redraw this in a little bit. We're going to go back into highways, grab that 2-way 4-lane highway. Let's go ahead and go in the middle, and we want to come off at a 90-degree angle, or at least straight to that. So then we will go just like that, go into continuous, go ahead and turn back on snapping, and then turn it, and fantastic. Look at that. That looks pretty good. And so the purpose of this is actually to have dedicated lanes. I don't want this traffic to be mingling with the rest of the traffic. I think it's just going to create problems for us. All right, and so now that we have that, we are going to be getting a little bit crazy with some of the road layouts in this. I think it's going to be a little bit important for us to try to get a cool look in here. So what I'm going to do, we're actually going to bring that out just a little bit. We'll probably have another road that's actually going to come up and connect with that. And so we will grab a small road. Let's go ahead and have it come like, you know what? I kind of want it to be a little bit closer. So I'm actually going to go back to the level terrain tool. We're going to go out like this. We do need to be careful of the lines that connect to this because it doesn't allow you to draw the road too close to it. So we want to come off like right here. We're going to put it right next to it. Yeah, perfect. And then what we're going to do is actually draw this, and we want it to go down. And we want it to go down at a fairly reasonable grade. Let's go up to 7.5. Yeah, there you go. Because I don't really want like a 10%. I think a 5% grade is probably good. And then what we're going to do is now turn it at a 90-degree angle. And this is actually kind of a cool idea. What I'm going to do is actually draw this in a little bit. We're probably going to go right there. And then we'll have this road kind of branch off so that this could be the road for our key, which is going to be pretty important for us. So we'll have this turn this way now, go at a 90, and then we can have this come up. And then I'm going to go ahead and jump into road services, grab our key, and then just upgrade this all the way down. And just a few seconds later, we got it in. And so I do want to put a couple little offshoots on here too. And so I think what I'm going to do is get a little crazy with this for a second. So we're going to increase that brush size, and we're going to make a small little island. And what this is going to be is just small little manufacturing islands. I think it's going to be nice to have. So we will grab this tool, bring it all the way out, and we are going to grab a road now. We're going to go to a small 2-lane road, and we're going to come off at a 90-degree, and I think we're going to come out probably about that far, and then I'm going to go about as wide as 2 full sets of zoning, and then we are going to come out here, and I want this to be about even, so we'll come out about 200 meters, go at a 90, and then we will go out for 2 sets of zoning, and then let's go ahead and go out another 200 meters, come out, and it does look like we are going to have to extend the lane out just a little bit further. And this is how you can kind of get your harbor areas or industrial areas near water to just look a little bit better. And then now we do need to go back, so we're going to go into road services, grab our key wall, and what I'm going to try to do is hit that right mouse button to take it off. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, so you do need to be careful. If it doesn't work, what you can do is just delete it and then go back. But it is something that I prefer to just work. So we're going to get rid of those middle sections, go back to our key tool, and just do this all the way around. All right, and so I think this looks pretty good. I ended up doing 3 small little islands coming out, and this is just going to help us to capture a little bit more of a realistic look for this industrial port. And so now I wanted to come back over here, and so we are going to be getting a little bit crazy with this. So let's go ahead and jump into our roads tool, grab our 2-lane 2-way road. Let's go ahead and hit that page down button. And let's bring this across. We're going to use this sunken road as a service road for a lot of our container holding and stuff like that in here. And so I do want to put in a rail yard. So we're going to go into transportation, we're going to go into trains, and we are going to grab our rail yard. And we need to figure out a good location for this. And so what I'm thinking is we're going to put it in probably about, I would like to get it at about a 90 degree to that road. So I'm wondering if we could actually have this come up. So if we have this go like this, and then maybe even, so we'll go back up now, and then we'll run this at a 90. And then let's go ahead and check this out right here. So it actually looks pretty good. I do think we want to get it a little bit closer. So what I'm going to do is just bring this back, and then we will come off probably about right there. I think that's probably good. And then we'll give that another shot. We want it to be with enough room, so I definitely want a little bit too close. So we want to be at about the middle of that. So we want to be, probably about right here. And so we will put this, we want it to be kind of to the side. We do need to worry about this little bridge piece at the end, but we want to allow enough room to be able to turn into this. So let's go ahead and check that out. So we're going to grab the double train track, and let's see if we can get across this without using anarchy. Yeah, we can. Perfect. And so now what we need to do is turn this in. And so the easiest way to do this is actually to work from this side. Just because it's the far side. So we're going to come up this way, and then we are going to be at a 90. Let's go ahead and turn on continuous, and we are going to go right about here, and then let's turn it at a 90 if we can. Perfect. And then have it connect up. Fantastic. And so now let's go ahead and grab our two-way one track tracks, come this way, and I do want it to end up like right next to this. Yeah, if we go like that and then connect it up, fantastic. And then we need to do the same thing for this one as well. Probably go right about there and then turn it at a 90. Fantastic. That actually connected up pretty well. And then we do need to connect up this side. I'm not going to worry about that at this moment. We need to finish off our road network. And so what I want to do first, we need this to come this way. And I want it to be about in the middle of this. So I'm actually wondering if we can draw it in up here first. And I mean, it definitely is a little bit closer to the one side than the other, but we'll go just like that. And then let's go back to our 2-lane road, sink it down with page down. And then we are going to go just like that. And we are going to need to get rid of that road. Sadly, we can come back though. And then let's go ahead and trim this up. And we need this to go down and meet up with that road. And this is going to be a little bit steep. So I want to try to go a little bit close. Yeah, so that's a 12.5% grade. That is huge, especially you would have semis and stuff on this. So this would be kind of an issue. Yeah, so we would want something like that. And we're going to end up putting in small roads in here and stuff just to make it a little bit better. And so I think what we should actually do is get rid of some of these trees. So I'm going to go into vegetation, go into the place multiple, unsnap this remove only matching type, and then I'm going to hold the right mouse button. And to make it a little bit faster, I can actually increase that brush sizes or that brush strength. And it just makes it so that I can remove all the trees. This is like the fastest way. And it does remove rocks and stuff too. So you got to be kind of careful if you are detailing some stuff. But it also helps to kind of remove any trees or anything below buildings as well, or in water or anything like that, which is kind of nice. Sometimes if you're using Move It, like if you shift around the trees, you'll end up finding like trees that are just hiding underneath buildings. We're already getting this going. Let's go ahead and trim this down. And I think what we're going to want to do, it would actually probably be better if it was this road, because I don't know if dumping in down here is going to be the best bet. So let's go ahead and check this out, because I'm kind of looking at that. It's a little bit tight. So if we go like this, if we come off at a 90, so we want to go down. It's going to be too steep. So we're just going to bring this down. And then what we're going to do is probably have it turn just so that we don't have to have that 17% grade. I think it's just going to be a little bit too steep. It's funny, in my test builds, I made this a little bit different. And so it's not exactly perfect the way that I wanted it to be, but it still looks pretty good. So we will have this connect up right there. And it does have a little bit of a crooked piece. I'm going to go ahead and fix this real quick. And there we go, just a few seconds later, and I do need to put back in our key walls. I ended up redrawing this in. It was only slightly off, but honestly, it was going to bother me. I'd rather have it perfect, even though I know that it is not absolutely necessary. And so I think that looks pretty good. And so now we can go back into our highways, and let's draw in our 4-lane 2-way, bring this across. We'll probably go just like that, and then we can go into our 2-lane 1-ways. Come up here, connect that up. Fantastic. Let's go ahead and check out this side as well. So it looks like I may have made it just a little bit too far. And so what I'm going to do is just bring this road up a little bit. And it's just going to make it so that we can have them a little bit closer together without having them touch. And then let's go into the Move It mod, and we're just going to lift this up just a smidge. Whenever you're dealing with these like key walls, a lot of times it does that, which kind of sucks. We do have to have that little bump. But I think that actually looks pretty good now. And so we are going to put in a small little road just to kind of cut this. So we will go ahead and bring this above ground. Let's grab this road, and we want it to be kind of in the middle. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good right there. And then we'll bring it across, go just like that. Fantastic. Let's go ahead and do one on this side, but I think we're just going to put it on the wall over there. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. And we could have this one cut across as well because this is the train yard, though I don't think we're going to. So now let's go ahead and draw our train tracks now. Let's go ahead and grab that double train track, and we want this to go straight. And we do need to be really mindful of this. This is kind of a tricky terrain. So what we're going to do is actually have this kind of split off. So we're going to have the one going this direction cut off right about here, cut through this way, and then actually cut up, probably go a little bit further. Because this is a hill right here, we have to worry about grades. And so it's really important. You want to be careful. So we will grab this, and we are going to turn it right next to the road, and we want it to go down. And then what I'm going to do is turn it this way. And we want it to be kind of at a 90. I think that would be good. And then that way what we can do now is begin to turn it this way. And what I'm looking at is that grade difference. And so you can kind of see that it's only a negative 1.3% grade. That's really what we're trying to go for here. Now, it does create a little bit of an issue on this other side, so we do need to be careful. So we want to raise this up now. And we want to be mindful of how steep the grade is going to be, because these are going to be cargo trains. So we want to bring this down. Yeah, we'll probably go just like that. And then that way we can now curve it this way. It's like a 10% grade. That's huge. So we would want to bring this further out. Yeah, we'll go just like that. It's still 5% grade, but honestly, they would be able to do it. The trains would just have to go slower, which I do think they do go slower in the game, which is kind of cool. So now we do need to get the other side. I kind of wish we had fixed this thing up a little bit. What we can do is have this come off now. We're going to grab our train track. Yeah, so we want it to cut off and go this way. Because of the tunnels and everything in here, it's just going to create a problem for us if we don't. So we want it to go just like this. Let's go ahead and see if we can actually just draw it in there. So if we go page down, so negative 3% grade, it's not great, but honestly, it's not the end of the world. And honestly, I think that looks pretty cool. I think having this right here is a little bit tricky, especially near that other intersection. But what we did is we created some pretty nice accessibility, and I actually like that it created this little opening in here. I wasn't really anticipating that. So let's actually grab a 4-lane divided road, have this cut across, and then let's go ahead and put in a small roundabout. So I'm going to do this large concrete roundabout with bushes. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good connection. I think that actually looks pretty cool. I don't particularly like this little connection in there, but it's going to allow us to kind of see the trains, which I think is going to be a nice addition. So now let's grab our train tracks again. We need to connect up these other connections. So we want this to come across. And I think we're actually just going to have this one cut in straight. I think that would be good. And then we may even do the same thing for this one. It's going to be a little bit trickier though. Oh, you know what? That actually worked out pretty well. And then let's go ahead and check out this side. So we're going to come up this way. And then I think what we're going to do is just have this one cut in. Yeah, I think that looks okay. And then that way what we can do is have this one cut in as well. Probably even follow for a little bit, just because it's going to help us to capture a little bit kind of cooler of a look. So we'll go like that and then have it dump in. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. And then one of the things that you can do to help make this just look a little bit better is to actually create a little bit of a rail yard. So we are going to have a couple of them branch off and just create like separate sections in here where we're going to have it go straight. And then we will have this cut off as well. And so this would be where you would park the trains, or a lot of times even have small like industrial loading areas, which I think is kind of cool. And so it is kind of nice to have those little areas. And another thing you can do is actually have little bypasses as well. So if we go like this, have this go straight, because then that's just where like a train could hold or something like that. So we'll go ahead and do another one right here as well. And then these are also really good detailing opportunities. Like we're able to kind of fill in these spaces and just make it look a little bit better. Like I'm going to come back through and put in tanks and really try to make this look as good as we can. So now for our little sunken road over here, I would prefer to get this some sort of connectivity. So I think what we're going to do first, we're going to grab our 2-lane road. Let's go ahead and bring this across. And I want this to kind of follow the rail line just because I think it's going to provide a little bit better detailing opportunities if we can do that. And then we'll have this cut in. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. And then what we can do is probably I could have this turn in, or I could just have it, let's try the curve and just see how it looks. So if I did like a, 90 and 90, you know what, that actually could look good. So if I do 90, 90 and then have it go up, yeah, you know what, that actually kind of looks interesting, because then we could put like maybe a little guard fence or something right there to kind of block off. Like this would be access to the underground terminal where we have all the containers and stuff like that. And then this provides a little bit of space for us to be able to connect this up and do some more detailing. Like we'll probably have this come all the way over here and then have this one cut up. We could even have this one cut across too. I wonder if we could do that. Yeah, we could. So let's go ahead and do that. And then we can have this one cut up and connect. I'm tempted to even have it cut over here, but honestly it would be better if it was a bridge. I wonder if we could get a small bridge across. So definitely, for some reason, did I have anarchy on? I didn't, but it's still kind of drew it in weird, so I'm going to go ahead and nix that. I just don't think it looks as good, especially with the terrain. We are mostly flat, but honestly there's still a little bit of hills, and so I think that's why it came out like that. Oh, it's because we had to raise up that section, and then we have this little weird section in here too, which we are going to come through here and detail this up, make it look a little bit better. Let's go ahead and bring out the land a little bit on this. And so because we have this new section, it creates kind of an opportunity for us. So we have a cargo yard over here, and this was kind of the reason why I was thinking about this. We have this weird train connection in here that really isn't the greatest. So what we're going to do first, we're going to go into transportation. We're going to grab our cargo rail line, and we're going to grab this, holding onto it with the left mouse button. We're going to bring it all the way over here. And why did that? All right, so we'll go like that. And it looks like we actually need to have this connect up with the main line. I completely forgot that you can't have trains go through the terminal. So what we're going to do is actually have this cut across. I want to be at like a 90, and then we'll have it connect up. It's going to be a little bit tricky, but if we go like that, yeah, there we go. And then that way we can have this connect up as well. Yeah, I still don't even know if that's going to be good. We'll see though. So if we have this go like that, this is tricky. This is definitely tricky. I'm going to go ahead and redraw this in real quick. Okay, so after a little bit of finagling, this is what I decided to sit on. I put these as 2 dead ends, so this would be like for train storage. And it's so funny, when I was doing my test, I had connected it up to the main line, and I completely forgot that you can't have lines go through these little one-ways over here. So while we're over here, let's actually upgrade this as well. So we're going to add in one more line, and we're going to add in that maintenance hall. I forgot that we were going to do the one more line just because it makes it look a little bit better. So we will have this go like this now, and then let's go ahead and have it connect up, and then we will have this one go straight as well. Yeah, we'll go just like that. And then what we would be good to do, so it can actually back up and end up on the main line over there. I was kind of worried that back section wasn't connected, but it actually is. So now we have 2 cargo lines over here. We have one that goes out of town, and we have one that goes all the way over to our cargo terminal over here. So I want to add in one more. We want to have one start right here, and we want to have it come all the way over to our cargo terminal on this side. So we'll add a waypoint, and then we will have it go all the way back. And what this is going to do is it's going to help facilitate intercity transfers. So we're going to, instead of sending out trucks, what it's going to do is it's going to send out a train. So we do need to add in our water routes as well. So we're going to go into water, and we're going to grab this medium seaway, and we are going to have one come all the way like this, probably go off at 90, have it turn up, connect, and then we're going to have this one come up as well, probably go off at a 90, and then have it just dump into here. And then that way there's kind of a circular little thing over here. I do want to also upgrade our main line. It only has the small one, and so it's kind of getting a little bit congested. I think by having a little bit of a bigger seaway, it's going to provide a little bit more coverage. So now that we have that, let's go ahead and grab our cargo routes now. So we'll hold the left mouse button and bring it all the way over here. And if you do get that reading error, there's something wrong with your routes. And so what you got to do is kind of go back and redraw it. I had to play around with this a few times. So we'll go into medium now, go into continuous. Let's go ahead and bring it up this way and then see if we can go like this and then connect it up. And then let's go ahead and grab this as well. And so that should hopefully fix it. Maybe not. We will see. So we'll grab our second line, come all the way over here. Yeah, look at that. So it did fix it. Perfect. And so we really only have 2 routes here. I could end up putting in another one if we decide that it's a little bit too crowded. I don't really know if it's necessary at this point, though. But what we are going to do now is go ahead and get rid of the C route, and we are going to make a whole bunch of people confused. And then we are going to demolish this. And we're going to come back to this section in a little bit. We're going to put in the car factory in there. So now we are coming back to this area, and this is getting kind of crazy. It already looks kind of cool. So we want to put in some detailing over here. So let's go ahead and remove some more of these trees. So we want to remove pretty much all these trees. This is all going to be part of the rail yard. And we're going to put a fence around it. We're going to really block it off. We want to come through and put in some cool stuff. So the first thing we're going to do, I want to put in a few little warehouses. So we're going to come in to find it, go into buildings, go into industrial buildings, and I want to find some manufacturing buildings that are going to look kind of cool in here. So what we'll do is search up warehouse, and I want to try to find a bigger one. That's kind of small. This one actually looks good. So this one right here, I think is fantastic. So what we're going to do is go ahead and switch sides. We are going to go like this, and what we're going to do is we're going to place one down every so often, and it's okay if it changes colors. It's not really the end of the world. So we will put it like this, and what we're going to do is actually turn these into little storage yards. So these would be rented out to companies that want to have storage within the port complex. And so now we can go into the extra assets, grab a small fence, and just do like a chain link fence going around these. Perfect. So I ended up kind of blocking them off into small little sections. These would be individual companies, and it does actually look like we are running into a little bit of an issue over here. I wonder if we could turn that into a retaining wall. Let's go ahead and check that out just to see. So we'll go into road services. Let's see if we can upgrade this to a retaining wall. Yeah, we can. Perfect. Does look like it gives us that little tear, which is super frustrating. I wonder if we can somehow fix that. Let's go ahead and see if we can do the opposite side of the road as well. Here, come on, fix. You can do it. So, I mean, that already does look a little bit better because of the force retaining wall tool. It's, I don't believe, going to be able to do this small section, which is kind of frustrating. You know, at least we got most of the fence in the area. There's just a little bit of gap. I'll probably come through and maybe put in some rocks or something in there. I think that looks pretty cool though. So I like these little areas a lot. And so we'll probably just come through here and do some concrete decals, just to kind of clean them up. And then I'll turn these into storages. So we will come in here and, you know what, I'll probably wait to do these because I might even go through and change the colors of them. But what we are going to do is come over here, and we need to pretty much change all of this into concrete. And we're going to come through and do some decals and turn this into some more container storage. This would be like backflow. So let's go ahead and remove that. Let's put in just a few more of these. We can actually have this cut all the way across. Fantastic. Go all the way down here. Nice. And so we can have this go like this as well. And so the idea is to just basically do some small decals like this and then put in some containers. The containers are actually easy. So if you go to find it and just search up container, I do have some container assets off of the Steam Workshop as well. I think it's like more containers or something like that. But one of the cool things, so you can grab this, go into the line tool, and you can use fence mode. You can use a lot of different things to kind of get this to work. You do want it to be on random so that you kind of get more of a realistic look. But this kind of creates a little bit of a space for us to be able to do something cool. So we want it to be like this. You know what? I think we're actually going to do it on this side. And then we will take the movement mod and just go ahead and shift these over just a little bit. I don't want them to be like right next to each other because we're going to come back through and do some of the decals in here and turn these into smaller little sections. Again, this would be like backflow. And so you really want to be careful. You don't want to put too many. And then one of the cool things you can do as well, go into the net lanes and grab this little gravel drive, and you can make little pathways, which is kind of nice. What it does is it just gives a little bit of a like track, kind of makes it look like it's been driven on even though it's not a road. Okay, so we are now at a place where we can start doing some industrial zoning because that's really one of the important things that's really one of the big things that we need to do here. So I want to incorporate something that's going to look a little bit more realistic. So we're actually going to start off down here with a parking lot because with industrial areas, you need a lot of parking. And it's just because a lot of times these factories are massive, like they have a lot of workers. And so you really would need a lot of parking for these people, especially if there's not a lot of mass transit in the area. And a lot of times industrial tends to be kind of out on its own. And so what we're going to do is go ahead and draw that out. And then we're going to go into our industrial zoning. And I'm actually going to go to the marquee tool. So we're going to go like that. And then let's go ahead and do 2 big ones right there. We're going to keep our eye on these to see what kind of fills in. So we'll do one like that. And then let's go ahead and grab our parking lot now. And let's bring this back and connect it up. Let's go ahead and check that out because we don't want to do too massive. Like this might right here might be a little bit too big. So we'll actually draw that, take that out, and then go back into parking, grab our small lot. And I think what I'm going to do is actually have this come from right there. Yeah, I think that's going to be a little bit better because then it allows some detailing opportunities on these back sections, which is going to be pretty important for us. And so now let's come back up here. I want to create a little bit of separation from this road. This is going to be kind of like a main road here. So we want to get out of this view first and have a road come off. We want it to probably go right about there. And of course, I am in the parking lot road. I don't know if that would be necessary. So we will grab this now, and we want it to kind of follow this road down. And we do have ruins right there, which I would prefer not to get rid of. So we'll have this turn now, go to 90, and let's actually have it come out at 90 of this road. Yeah, there we go. It's just going to look a little bit better. And then that way, what we can do is actually have this come down and then turn. Okay, so now that we have that, what we want to do is come through here and we're going to start doing just some smaller bits of zoning. We don't want to fill the whole thing in because then it's going to allow us to have some detailing opportunities. And this is really how you can get it to look a little bit better. So we'll go ahead and go like that. Let's go into a parking lot road now, and we're going to grab this smaller one. We're going to come all the way across the back. And I think we're going to go probably about right there. And then what we can do is come back to our zoning now, and let's do a couple smaller sections off of this. And then I do want to remove zoning off of this road. I would prefer it to be on the other section. So I'm going to go ahead and use a pathway. We'll go just like that. And then what we're going to do is probably do another 3x3 right there. Fantastic. And one of the cool things with this is you can actually come back through and do a smaller road as well. So if we go into roads, let's grab a small little alleyway. And this a lot of times can make your builds just look so much better. So if we have this come down here, and then let's go ahead and turn it up and have it end in the parking lot. And that did not go into a 90-degree angle, so I want to redraw that in. Yeah, we'll go just like that. Fantastic. And then that way what you can do is actually just kind of divide it up a little bit, make it look a little bit better. So now we want to come up here. We're going to do a couple bigger ones, and we want to leave some room in the middle. So we want to do 6x6s. What is that? 3, yeah, 6x6. And let's go ahead and do one in the middle as well. We'll do one just like that. And let's go ahead and do a big one over here. This is going to be really good for the city. This is going to provide a lot of good jobs for the people. Okay, so we have our industrial coming in, and now what we want to do is come in and kind of fill in some of these spaces with some parking lots. And what this is going to do is just make it look a little bit more realistic, but also provide some much needed parking for these areas. And it can be a little tricky. You definitely got to be careful with some of these parking lots. I don't know why. This one, I guess on one side, the parking lot's a little bit bigger. I thought for some reason that was smaller, but guess not. And so what I'm going to do is just kind of click through here and look for ones that fit, but also kind of look good. It can be kind of tricky sometimes, but getting these in here really goes a long ways to make your area just look a lot better. And then for these little empty spaces, what I'm going to do is fill them in with some more larger lots. So I'm going to do some larger ones. Let's go ahead and do medium one right there, and let's go ahead and do a 3x3 right there. I think that looks pretty good. I think I'm going to leave this empty or even put a big lot right there. I think that would be good. And then I think for over here, what we're going to do is potentially put in just a few more warehouses. So I'm going to go in to find it. I'm going to search up warehouse, and I want to try to find something that's going to be a little bit different from the ones that we already placed, but I do want it to be something that I can replicate that's still going to look good. And so this is kind of tricky a little bit. This one actually looks good. I think this is the same one that we have, though. It'd be nice if we could get one that's that size, but not that exact look. It's kind of funny. I'm guessing a lot of these are just kind of replicas where they're just slightly changed. So we'll go across. Let's go ahead and go like this. And then now that we're getting a little bit closer to our train yard, what I want to do is actually go in and mess with some of the manufacturing buildings, because it's just going to help to capture a little bit cooler of a look. And so these are broken down into the industry as well, which is kind of nice. So you have agriculture, forestry, oil, and so you can actually go in and just search them up. So if you're trying to do like an expanded oil industry, you can just go in to find it and kind of search it up and find one that you really like, which I think is a really cool feature of Find It. So we'll go ahead and draw this across, do a 90-degree angle. I want to put one in like right in this corner. Let's go ahead and check this one out. So you know what, that actually looks pretty good. I like that it's got the tanks in the back too. I think that looks cool. So let's go ahead and do a road going out. And then I think we're going to actually do like a dock or something on this side. So we'll use concrete, and then I'll probably try to do some rock or something to bring it all together. And then let's do a small lot. I wonder if we can just go this way. It might be better. Yeah, if we go like that, that's probably a little bit better. And then let's actually just draw one in and see what we get. We can always come back through and kind of smash them as well. I really like these ones, though. I think that these are going to provide some really cool looks, especially once we start putting in some fencing and stuff and really get some bigger details in there. And then let's go ahead and fill in some of this as well. We need to finish this whole side. And so I actually got some pretty fun ideas for this. So we're going to grab our 2-lane road. Let's go ahead and bring this out. So once we get a couple of these in here, we'll be able to start moving on and doing some more buildings over here. We got to kind of watch out with these. We're going to come back through and rearrange these. I don't want you guys to think that those are set in stone. So now that we have that, let's go back to our little road over here. And what we need to do is probably turn on anarchy because we have a conflict with one of our pathways up there, which is all right. So then we will go up to 10. I want this to kind of come off at a 90. Yeah, we'll go just like that and then continue straight and then go all the way down. This is going to be a little bit of a steep connection, but honestly, it's going to be a much needed one. So I'm not going to worry about it as much. And there we go. So it's a 9-point-something% grade, which is pretty high. But now what we're going to do is we're going to bring this across. And we need to remove the trees in this area. So we will grab our trees, go to the multiple brush, go to the place multiple, and uncheck this remove only matching type. And so what we're going to put here is actually some rock quarries. I think it's just going to help bring it all together. And we really only have one rock quarry in the city. And so I think that it would be smart for us to kind of just grab a little bit more. So now I'm going to come all the way out to pretty close to the edge of this. And I'm going to try to go off at a 90. I don't want to be right next to the highway. I want to be a little bit farther away just because I think it helps to make it look a little bit more realistic if you can put some trees or some sort of barrier in there. And voila. And I left a little bit of space on here so that we could actually add in a few more, probably of these style warehouses. I think this is a pretty good fit. So if we use the picker mod, grab that, what we're going to do is just put this right next to it. And we do have to use anarchy for it. So we'll go just like that. And we could even come in here and remove that fencing as well, which will help it to look a little bit better. So if we go like that, perfect. Let's go ahead and remove the fencing on this side. And then I was watching Few Candy the other day, and she did some really cool kind of detailing with this. I'm really only going to dive into a little bit of it. So if you guys are interested, I'm actually going to leave a link in the video down below. But it came out really well, and it's honestly something that I hadn't thought about. And so I definitely think it's worth checking out. She went through and did a bunch of these little piles with some rubble and everything, and it just made it look so much more realistic. It gave it a bunch of depth, and I thought it was just such a cool idea. And so what we're going to do is create some piles of rocks. We're going to go all the way around, and we're going to come over here and do the same thing. And then what I'm going to do is put rubble below them. And what it's going to do is just give the impression that there's kind of rock piles and everything. And then you can actually use like excavators or any other sort of like detailing assets to kind of bring this all together. Go into all, and then I'm going to go to this rubble pile concrete random. And I want to turn off this snap to the surface of an object because I want it to be on the ground. I'm going to try to go underneath. We're really going for something that's going to look realistic here. And then we can actually use some weathering decals as well. So we could come in here. Let's grab this medium one. We're going to use the bucket tool. We just kind of want to give it this like weathered look. I think it makes it look a lot better. Yeah, there we go. And then another cool thing that you can do is come in here. I'm going to do this gravel drive. I'm going to grab the continuous tool. And what we're going to do is just have this kind of drive around. When this is where like the dump trucks would be. This is, they're doing work. They're picking up loads, and we want to have like some roads kind of going back and forth. And you kind of want these to intermingle as well, so that maybe they're not always turning in the right direction or going down the exact same path every time, which is kind of cool. So we'll go just like that. So if we jump out of that now, we can kind of see just how this makes it look so much more realistic. And one of the things I like to do too is come in here and go to decals, go to stain decals, and I'm actually going to grab a larger one. And then what I'm going to do is just kind of stamp this around. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to grab a couple of these little mining excavators, and we just want to place them in the rocks. Yeah, there we go. I think this looks really cool. And so the idea is to actually do that for this one as well. And it kind of looks like maybe this is a little bit wrong. Yeah, we want to maybe What's wrong? We may have to place a different one there. And so for these sections, what we're going to do is have a road. No, we're going to let's grab some buildings first before we do anything else. We're going to go into buildings, go into industrial, and grab manufacturing. And I want to get some bigger ones. Well, this is a by 5. No, we want like a 6 by 6 of some kind. So we're going to go ahead and do this squared off one right here. I actually really like this one. I think it looks cool. And it lends itself to be able to replicate these, which is really what I'm trying to do. So I want to have this go like that. And then what we're going to do is put in a couple small parking lots, but then create some yards for these. So then we will grab this, have it go like that, and then go ahead and connect up. Let's go ahead and check that out. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Honestly, we probably could even tuck this in a little bit more. And then we will grab a fence. Go in here. We're just going to go to a regular fence with the barbed wire on top. I just think it looks really good for these areas. So we'll go like this, and then let's go ahead and bring this across, and this will be like a small yard. So we'll do the same thing here, come up, turn it. And so this is actually going to look really cool. I think what I'm going to end up doing is probably gravel. So I'll do gravel going all the way in, and then we'll do some tanks and stuff. And this is actually really easy to find it as well. So if you go in here, you can go into props, you can go into industrial props, and this is really where you'll find like a lot of your little grates. Like we can do a couple rows of these if we wanted to. I don't want them to be on. So we'll have these come down, and we could even do like a few rows of these. This is kind of the stuff that I'm going to do for our port as well. So then we will come in here and we'll do like rows of these crates. And so this is, in my opinion, just one of the easy ways that you can, dress up a lot of these areas. Like we can come over here and do one of these little stacks, these chimneys. Maybe this is like some sort of like steam valve or something like that, especially right next to this building already. And we could even do like one of these big towers. I think we'll probably do it over here. There's really a lot of fun stuff you can do with this. I like those little rows too. And so that's kind of the idea with this is bring all these together, make it into one large complex. And so we'll probably do the same thing over here. I wonder if we can actually just zone some in, and I wonder what we're going to get. Because zoning, the good thing with zoning is it actually will give us what we need in the city. So if we come over here, do the same thing, and then do the same thing on the other side, let's just see what we get. Honestly, we may have to come back through and kind of play whack-a-mole with it, but sometimes that's what's necessary. So we'll come over here, and I'm going to make this one a little bit smaller than we did on the other side. And we'll have to come back and kind of check on these because we want to make sure we don't get any weird buildings in there. I really like this look a lot. I think this looks super cool. I'm really excited to be able to bring all this together. This is a really cool way to just make your area look a lot better. And so now let's come over here to our big area where we kind of left all this empty. This was where our old cargo port was. And so we are going to be getting a little bit crazy. We're going to pause for a second. And what we're going to do is jump out of this first, get rid of this road, and then let's go ahead and get rid of the rail line as well. We don't need that anymore. And then we're going to trim this all back, trim this all back. And it's kind of funny. I was going to do the paper mill, but City Planner Plays had just done a big paper mill complex. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to wait. I don't want to do the same thing as them. I was like, I'm going to do the car manufacturing plant, which I think looks really cool. And so what I'm thinking for this area is actually to go in here and I want to do the vehicle factory. I think this is a really cool building and it provides a lot of opportunity for us to be able to like maybe turn this into containers and stuff and really decorate this up. So we do need a lot of parking for this area. So we're going to use this large parking lot. And these are part of the Mio parking lot assets, if anybody's wondering. And so we're going to do 2 big lots coming all the way down because parking is pretty important for facilities like this. And then I think what we're going to do is potentially, I'm looking at this road layout. I'm wondering if maybe we could change this a little bit. I'm thinking that this really isn't the greatest layout for this area. Yeah, there we go. Because in that way we even have like a little bit of connectivity, which is kind of nice. And I wonder if we could actually connect these up with each other too. Ooh, we can. Look at that. That's actually really nice. I haven't done that yet. And we do need to go in to find it and just shift these over a little bit. It looks like this is just a little bit over. And of course it made some trees appear. And voila. And so now what I would like to do is create some more container areas over here. And so let's go ahead and do a couple small industrial buildings. We're going to go back into buildings. And I think we could I want to do the manufacturing ones again. I think it's just going to make the most sense. So if we go like that, and then let's go ahead and do another one back here. And then let's do another one right here. And this is going to be kind of tricky. It's like on this parking lot, which isn't necessarily the best. But this is going to leave a lot of room for us to be able to do a fence around and then decorate this up. I really want to put some containers in here. Like with this being a car factory, a lot of this would be set up for deliveries. And then let's go ahead and turn all this into concrete. And so that way, what we can do is actually put in some containers in here and turn this into a whole like storage facility. I think we'll even do like a big storage yard over here as well, because this would, especially with vehicle factories, they normally have really big parking lots. Like I remember seeing a vehicle shipping facility out in Savannah. And all it was just like big parking lots where they would park cars. And so we'll go ahead and get rid of these. Let's go ahead and jump out of this. And then let's actually remove that. Perfect. And then let's remove these roads. And then I think what we're going to do, let's go ahead and check out the parking lots and see what it looks like. And then I think we'll put containers on the far side. Yeah, I think that this is going to look cool because then we can just do containers on this side. So we could do like one warehouse. We'll come in here, search up warehouse, and then let's remove zoning so that this doesn't come in. We want to right click. Perfect. And this is actually going to look really cool, especially once we get the cars in there. We'll probably remove parking off of this lot. So this is going to be for storage and shipment. And so we would probably even have some sort of way to get the cars over here, or the cars would be transported over here. So maybe there'd be another lot for car storage over here, which could probably be good. Kind of wondering why these got abandoned. This building has been abandoned by its occupants. They should have access down here. Yeah, they should. So for some reason that got abandoned. We're probably going to have to come back through and rework these. But I think this already looks really cool. So we got a pretty cool little idea going. I think what I'm going to now do is jump into a detailing time lapse and bring a lot of these decals together. Like I'm going to decal all of this into a train yard. And then I think I'm actually going to bring in some car storage as well. And then I think we're going to end up doing some more industrial on this side. I'm going to end up doing another complex like these two over here, and we'll be able to look at it when it's all done. And so I hope you guys enjoy. I will catch you on the other side. All right, so after probably about 5 or 6 hours, I am finished. And there are still some areas that I left blank. I'm just not really sure what we're going to do with this yet. Probably more industrial, but I decided to leave it there for us to do on a future build. And so I definitely went a little crazy on details. I ended up doing loading zones and storage zones for inventory, pretty much going all the way around our port. And then I did these small little warehouses with little individual inventories as well, and I did the decals going all the way through here with some shrubs, even put in some tanks for like gas or refueling, and I even put in some trains over here for like storage. And I think this looks really cool. I really like this overall look. I do wish some of the props kind of showed still from far away, but I think it looks really cool, and you can even see a little bit of tearing in the decals as well. But I think it looks awesome. I really like how I did some of these rows. Like this would be where it's been offloaded from a container ship and it's waiting for a local truck or whatever to come and take it to its desired destination. So this actually happens in industrial quite a bit. And so you'll have a company where they're, managing an inventory, and their whole company's basically founded on just, being a middleman for whatever their inventory is. And so I wanted to try to capture that. I ended up doing a lot of buildings with little inventory spots. I went over here, I added in a lot of weathering as well. And then I did containers in this section. Again, a lot of weathering. I did go around, so I added in a police station, I added in a fire station, and also a small post office. And then I did do little post office boxes as well, because I felt like that was going to be important. And then over here, I was a little bit more modest. I did do some metal rebar over here with some barrels and stuff, just some more inventory. But then I just put down the gravel and then did some trees that maybe a lot of these were kind of more filled in. I had a lot more spaces, and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to fill it in more. I think it looks a little bit better. That's why I even kind of filled this in after the police station. I do still have some empty spaces as well. I need to come back through and do some trees, but I think this looks awesome. And so moving over to our next area, I did two separate, different colors of gravel over here. Maybe they're, different ground or something. It's kind of weird because they're right next to each other. You would imagine that the gravel would probably be the same color, but I felt like it helped to differentiate the two areas. So for this section, I ended up doing like a hole in the ground with some rocks going around just to capture a more realistic look. And over here, I just had some roads kind of going around. I did mounds as well with these little rocks, and I really like how this looks. Again, if you want to check out that video, I'm going to go ahead and leave it below this video if you're interested. And then I did some storage yards for these warehouses. I did a mix of metal for this one. It looks like, yeah, metal's going across. And then I did some barriers with some little crates and stuff, some metal on the background, and then some barrels over here, and then just kind of tidied it up with little trees going around the outside. And then I added in some ore assets for this rock quarry, and over here, this is what we did during the video. I added in some container storage over here, and then I did like rows of these tanks over here, like maybe this company actually sells these tanks. And so I ended up doing a bunch of these, which I think looks really cool. So overall, I really like this build a lot. And so last but not least is our car manufacturing factory. And it's kind of funny. I was going to come in here and kind of do some more, but then after the cars filled up, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to leave it the way it is, because a lot of times you'll get huge lots like this where it's just cars that are being ready to ship. Like it wouldn't be people who are parking, but this is kind of the look that I was going for, is just a bunch of cars like sitting there waiting to be shipped. And then I did fill in a couple of these areas. I put in some trees, did a little walking path. And then over here, I did gravel on the backside and then put in a bunch of these little industrial areas. And I think it looks really cool. I really like the overall look, especially over here. I like the weathering that I did in here, and like the rail yard with some of the bushes and stuff. I was really going for a more realistic look, and it actually looks like this is actually torn. I was thinking that was just something from being far away. I wonder what that is. So if we come in here, let's try to smoothen that a little bit. Yeah, it looks like it's on a hill of some kind. So if we grab that, yeah, there you go, perfect. And over here is a little messed up. So if we go like this, let's kind of raise that up. Yeah, that looks a little bit better. It's because we're working with hilly terrain. But I like that we got this sunken road too. I think this is really cool. And this is actually something that I could imagine being in industrial ports, like having these little roadways. I want to say I've even seen it in industrial ports. I've been to a lot of areas where they have industrial ports like this. And so, but I really like that idea a lot. I think it's really cool. It provides really good accessibility so that people don't have to get impeded by this road. But then it also provides really good access for this road, especially since it loops up over here. And then I did connect up this road to a little roundabout as well, put in some trees, and I think that's about it. This was a really big build. I feel like we did a lot. We definitely did a lot. Oh, I did these little tank storages over here too, and I did wood storage back here. But this was a really big build. But I think overall for this new area, it looks really good. I like the rock quarry over here. I like that we got these little industries in here. So like boats would be able to actually dock and probably be loaded on. Like there'd probably be cranes going over. There's no cranes in the game right now, and so I can't really do anything like that. And then I like this area a lot. We did a lot of smaller details, which I think are really cool, especially for industrial. A lot of times this is just what makes your city look a little bit more realistic, like whenever you can capture those small details, like these little inventories and stuff. And so go ahead and let me know what you guys think. I'm kind of thinking about doing a video of the detail itself. And so if you guys are interested, maybe doing like a $2.20 style video where it's like a time lapse and then I talk over it. Go ahead and let me know if you guys are interested. And so if you enjoyed this video, you will definitely enjoy the video on your screen. And thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you guys on the next one.